Thank you. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call for a motion to approve the minutes of the June 8th, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? We have Reverend Collins up there. No, we have Geneva.
Aye.
Okay. Call for the minutes, the motion for the approval of the minutes of June 15th special meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Geneva?
In favor.
Thank you. Public forum this evening? There is no one. Move on to presentations for this evening. Call to the podium Frank Mulhern to Family and Community Engagement Initiatives.
Well, I guess I owe Lisa an apology. Oh, how do you do the turnaround thing?
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for the opportunity to present what we're doing and have been doing over the last 4 years with the My Brother's Keeper programs, which has now grown into many other programs. So I think Kelly is going to help move me along in this. The way this is constructed is that I wanted you to see exactly what students learn when we are engaged in any of our programs. That's number one. Number two, I wanted you to see a little bit of it. And number three, I wanted you to see how what we have been networking and doing the last 4 years has grown quite a bit. Vince, you could just take me to the next slide. So I want to talk about themes and sources for inspiration throughout the presentation. The first thing is the circle of courage. This is a symbol that we use. Sometimes you've seen students here wearing t-shirts with that. The circle of courage was developed out of a youth education and youth development model out of Augustana College in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The authors you can't see it too well, but Martin Brokenleg and Larry Brentro and Steve Van Bakken are the authors. I studied under one of them. And we teach the themes of 4 major areas that students need to know about: mastery, independence, generosity, and belonging. You can move to the next slide. We also are operating and working under the My Brother's Keeper project. And there are basic tenets of the My Brother's Keeper initiative that I've shared with the board before, but basically it's providing pathways for students that normally they would not have, and with a focus on boys and young men of color, although we provide activities for every student in the district. Here's some pictures of recent things we've done in spite of the pandemic. The gentleman in the screen is Robert Jackson. He's a former defensive NFL football player for the Minnesota Vikings, who now provides youth development programs online. So we had a number of our young men in the room to talk about relationships. We spent 4 weeks going over that, and it was hardcore discussion about what is important. To the right, you can't see it too clearly, but he had printed out the steps to making relationships that begin with friendship, and in this case, end in marriage. He was talking about normal processes for meeting and respecting others, particularly in a dating relationship. We're also continuing. These are recent visits that we've done. They were virtual tours of SUNY Ulster and Bard College. We did them right here in this library, but we are back live. So last week, we had a number of students attend at SUNY Sullivan, and we'll be at SUNY Ulster live on July 8th. Another theme that we follow, and this is for the staff as well as for the students. Ministrare no ministrare actually is my motto, which I adopted when I was in high school. It means to serve and not to be served. And so when we talk about community service for students, I know we've shrunk the requirement here because of pandemic from 40 hours to 10 hours. But in actuality, now that we're going to a junior, senior high school, I'm actually, any student who joins the programs that I'm operating will have to do 200 hours. And it can be done if you're talking grade 7 to 12, so that they do learn what ministrare no ministrare means, to serve, not to be served. Along the way, we wrote a grant, and we are now working with Ulster County Restorative Justice Program and that office. And we've started what's called Brighter Futures Initiative, or BFI Mentor Program. We now have 13 hired mentors for 24 students that we're serving in that program. The district pays out the money for doing this, and we get reimbursed dollar for dollar through Ulster County. Those three pictures represent, the middle picture is last year's graduation from of students in Kingston and Ellenville. The tall student on the right is one of our students who graduated from high school last year, and he was also in the first student in the mentor program. And the other students are from Kingston. This year, tomorrow evening, Pat Ryan, the county executive, will be honoring 6 of our students who are graduating this year on time. That's through the mentor program. To be perfectly honest with you, there are, in the program of 23 students, there are 11 students who should be graduating right now. 6 of them are doing it on time. 2 are eligible to graduate in January. 2 more are eligible to graduate in January. So, as I tell to Mr. Babone, these are the percentages you might normally not achieve on time, but the mentor program has been highly instrumental. We support kids through jobs, through mentoring, through contact. They each have a personal mentor that they can contact almost any time for help or assistance. The 2 pictures on the left and right are one of our mentors, and that's Marlon Cabrera, who is graduating this year. Marlon knows what I'm about to say. His mentor is Johnny Paulson, and we had Marlon join our program because a year ago today he was homeless. He was living in a car. He was taken in by a family, a well-known Ellenville family helped him out, and our mentor program stepped in. On the left, he had attended the Virginia International National Field and Track Invitational, and he placed 4th in a cross-country, in a relay race, and placed 8th on his own individual. He wouldn't be there otherwise. On the right, you can see that he was also doing some touring. I don't have a photo of it. I wanted to get it in here, but I also want to say that your board president took notice of what this young man was doing. And Marlon is also, if I have it correct, he's a part-time dispatcher for the Ellenville Police Department.
Yes, he is, and he's doing very well.
Next slide. We also support, My Brother's Keeper supports the Science and Technology Education Program at New Paltz, which this year was totally virtual. But the Ms. Birnbaum in the picture on the left is with 2 students who each just won a $3,000 scholarship for their college education. And on the right again is the BFI graduates picture from the previous year. Ubuntu is another concept that all kids must know. So by the time they finish any of my programs, they should be able to pronounce Ubuntu, and they should know what it means. I am because you are. They not only know what it means, but they know and understand what it means when we interact with each other and what our interdependence responsibilities are with each other. When I showed you the Circle of Courage, not only do kids have to learn about their own assets, they have to learn about the assets of others and how to connect with them to make us all greater. Anyway, Ubuntu is a major concept in everything we do. This year, I'll be honest with you, when we were developing the BFI mentor program, I didn't know how many teen parents we had. And so I started exploring in the area, what is there available? And between the pandemic and just not knowing, we came across a foundation, the Rowley Family Foundation out of Orange County, that said, we love what you're trying to do. We know you're just starting it out. Here's $35,000 to get it going. We manage that, and we've just developing it. And what you see there are 3 of our teen parents with their babies. We meet right here where I stand, usually every Thursday. We started off with a program out of the University of Texas. The instructor from that program was also a woman of color who was also a teen parent, talking about the emotional and health needs for these young people while they are not only raising their children, but trying to graduate from high school. The young lady on the left with the little boy in the red is graduating on time this year. The other 2 in the middle, there's one that's a guest in a gray sweatshirt. The other 2 are also moms with their children there. And one is graduating, we hope, in January. That's her plan. It's awfully hard, but we're helping her. And the one on the right is a junior. And the one all the way on the right is an old man. That's me. Okay, next slide. Now, let me just go through the programs, because a lot of people say, we know you're doing a lot, but we don't really understand how it interplays. I'm not going to explain that here. I'm just going to tell you that one of the goals this year is to upgrade our demonstration online through public relations, newsletters, et cetera, of what we do. But we have a college and career readiness program. And the reason we highlight it, My Brother's Keeper Family and Community Engagement Programs, that's not the grant that gives us the most money, but it is a grant that we say, even if we weren't getting money, it would be our heading, overseeing everything else because of the principles involved in that. So under that, we have college and career readiness programs. We do financial literacy, media literacy, physical and mental health awareness programs. We have student orientation camps. Previously, we used to do overnights, and that was at Camp Ramapo. This summer, Mr. Babona's commissioned me to develop daytime orientation programs for all new 7th, 8th, and 9th graders joining the junior and senior high school program. We'll be doing that right here on campus. Circle of Courage youth programs. To continue, we would like to do more parent university mini conferences. We did one the first year I was here. We hadn't gotten back to that, but we'd like to continue that and get back to that. We do Saturday tech programs. That includes the New Pulse program, but I also run Smash tournaments on weekends, and kids love that. I'll explain it to you if you want to later. I just mentioned New Pulse, and this is an important one. Social Justice and Community Service Program with the NAACP. The NAACP is now named as a partner in our application for the next round of the My Brother's Keeper program. They had been active all throughout anyway. If you remember, we started, one of our partners was the African American Men's Group of Ellenville, which has not operated the last couple of years, but we inherited some of the folks from there, and the NAACP jumped in. I was a keynote presenter to the most recent NAACP meeting at Convocation, and we are trying to develop a youth corps that will connect to the NAACP, or if they choose, they can even become youth members of the NAACP. But the focus is social justice and community service. We actually started doing it, this kind of work last year. Chief Matrician, as a matter of fact, was the head of the police reform village meetings, and we were invited, and I brought students just about to every meeting. We actually did a video interviewing people in Ellenville about their impressions of police reform. What does it mean? What do they think is necessary? And then my students stayed to write parts of the presentation was due back to the state, and their names are memorialized in that document that went to Albany. So our students participated as citizens, helping out in terms of contributing to this community, and I appreciate that. Brighter Futures Initiative Mentor Program, Ulster County Restorative Justice. I just mentioned what that's about. To me, that's the most dynamic and most unique of the programs because students are helped until they turn 22. So those students that we helped who graduated, we're going to continue helping them. We have one kid in that program who's graduating on time. In June, he's joining the United States Army, and we will stay connected to him until he's 22. And that's what that program allows. That's based on money, private public money through Ulster County. And I gather that Peter Buffett and his crew are behind a lot of it. The Teen Parent Program with the Rowley Family Foundation as well. Extended School Day Activities, New York State Ed. We've applied for a grant. I think it's a 4 or 5 year grant, I forget. Yeah, with them. I don't think we've heard back from them, even though it's beginning next week. But you know, they're right on time. They might get back to us. We also have, because I wrote a grant 2 years ago on an Advantage After School program with a group in the city. I operated that one this year. It was totally remote. I'll be honest with you, it didn't work so well because it couldn't reach a lot of kids. The kids that it did reach, it seemed to work well. I don't know if they're going to continue. It's a grant with the Office of Children and Family Services, but we'll hear more. And I do know there's a YMCA elementary after-school program. So you're covered in after-school programs from K all the way to grade 12. We also have youth employment programs. As a matter of fact, as recently as today, I was upstairs. We had 14 kids come in who are all approved through the Office of Employment and Training for youth employment. 5 or 6 of them will actually work in this building as they did last year in the tech departments, radio, TV, broadcast, and they get training both from us and also from Ulster County, which they were here today training these kids to get ready for work. And I'm happy to say that one of our full-time workers is actually paid for through the county. He was a youth in that program. His name is Corey Pizzaro. He's working with Moses's department and doing very, very well. And it was nice. He came to greet the youngsters today when they came in. But to us, that's very, very important. We want to keep producing job opportunities for kids and keep them busy. Today's students, tomorrow's teachers is not a program I necessarily have any responsibility for, but it is present here in the district. And in spite of the pandemic, they did have a number of students participating in online programs. I think that program is now being honored through the My Brother's Keeper initiative in Albany. So they're merging their efforts. And as you know, the district has had the President's Challenge through SUNY Ulster Community College. We'll continue with that. I already mentioned the Social Justice and Community Service Program. Most of all of the goals, and I'd like to go over them just briefly, but we want to build school and community partnerships. I held a public forum at, what's the name of the restaurant? Aroma Time right in town. A number of people attended, and a lot of people saw us online through YouTube. And we really need to continue with that family and community engagement. I'd like to emphasize that more this year. To increase family engagement in their child's education, to help students to identify and use their inherent gifts and abilities. That's the circle of courage right there. To prepare students for college and careers. We're doing that regularly through Go Beyond Greatness and Ashley Knox to increase the graduation rate. That's a focus. I honestly think we could have graduation rates that are like in the high 90%. I think we could do it. And with that support from that mentor program, monitoring those kids, we're helping kids, those 6 kids that are graduating tomorrow, this week, I don't think any of them would have graduated without the mentor program. And I don't know, Mr. Babone, if you feel the same way. They would have been 1% each in the failure column, but they're graduating. And we'll get the others who are due too. To provide an academic and family support for teen parents. That's a budding program. We're still figuring that out. And I want to thank the board member who has been helping us with that too through MISN to help students to improve their academic grades, to track and support student achievement, and to provide engaging and fun activities for kids. Last slide. Is there another one?
That's it.
I'm going to end with this. That's Ulysses. At his feet are his radio and his phone, and that's one of the children of our teen parents. And Ulysses is also a mentor. And I'm not putting that up there to highlight just him. This represents engagement by your staff, getting involved with kids in ways they hadn't before, as mentors, as participants. Ulysses came to me, he saw car seats in my office and Pampers and all that kind of stuff in my office, oh my God. And he said, you know, let me check them. I want to make sure they're up to date because I'm an inspector for that. And I realized that we have to go through training. It's a 40-hour training for all of that. So we're going to be doing that. And Ulysses said, I'll guide you with this to make sure you guys are on target, which is great. But he's not beneath coming in and holding one of the babies and spending time with us. So these are some of the programs. I'm going to end this by saying something I discussed with Kelly and Lisa and with Carl all the time. I get a little upset with knowing that districts like, and I'll just use an example, like Scarsdale and Westchester, have all of this. It comes to them so easy. It's there, it's inherent in the families. They're not dealing with the poverty. They're not dealing with some of the issues we are. We're making that happen, and there's no reason why we can't make this happen here. Graduation rates up and improvement of kids' lives. And some of these things, intertwining them, getting the community stronger, connecting to your county seat so that we're important, is really what we're after. So I thank you for that opportunity to do that these last few years. And if anybody has questions, I'll take them.
So I just want to comment, Frank, I could tell you that Marlon, without your support and guidance, and he could have went a different route. You know, as you said, he was homeless. You know, his life could have taken a different turn, but you guys stepped in. John Paulson stepped in. You know, we approached him to get him into the police department, to get him on a different path as well. But your guidance and support in the program, and John Paulson's and everybody that supported him, he's going to go places. And he's going to go places because of people like you. So thank you.
And people like you too. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Mulhern, when I've seen one of your programs when we went out to I think it was the overnight one.
Right.
Amazing stuff. And, you know, as an educator, a lot of these kids are the kids that you sometimes just say will never make it. But with the resources that you're providing, I can't overstate what a great job it is. I would like to know if you could just keep the board a little more informed for when these activities are taking place. I think I attended a graduation a couple of years ago too. So if you could just let us know about those, we can support where we can.
We will. That's a major goal here because I realize people are starting to see it and we're not communicating it enough. So that's one of our goals, to make sure that it's readily available so people are aware. Thank you.
And the kids that were on your reform committee, they were informative, intuitive. They provided genuine dialogue to the conversation, and we started to bridge a gap, which we need to continue to bridge between law enforcement and the youth. And it's through this program that it became possible. And I thank you for that. And please thank and commend those kids that came out.
Yeah, thank you.
I just also want to comment, a lot of these initiatives would not happen, Frank, if you weren't tenacious and really took the initiative to find the funding. It's out there, and we just appreciate it very much. Everyone's so busy, especially this past year, and it's really a testament to everyone involved in this, but especially your leadership that really pushed this through. But I want to echo, I think you should come to the board every couple of months just to give updates
Sure.
on exactly what's going on here, and so that we can hear more about it.
Be
Rather
happy
it
to.
not be in the, you know, in the bleachers, so to speak.
I'd be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Frank. Okay, our next presentation, Matthew Igo, Farm to School Program. Hey, Matt.
And can we pull that up too? Are you doing that up there? Oh, you can do it from up there.
It's presenting now.
I kind of wanted to applause after that last one. That was
Yeah.
great. That was
Yeah.
an amazing presentation. I'll wait for a second. Thank you for hearing about us tonight. I just wanted to say first off that this area we live in has been a focus for agriculture for 1,000 years at least. The Native Americans who lived here first were growing corn. The settlers came from Dutch, were growing corn. We have families here who are growing in this valley for about 350 years. They're still growing in this valley. So the tradition of feeding ourselves here is pretty strong. And somehow, the world changed and our food system changed, and we got away from doing that. And so part of the focus is what we're going to do is try to get back to relying on some of our natural resources right here that we can depend on to feed ourselves, our kids, and also to nourish their minds and learn more about agriculture, get outside a little more, develop some more healthy habits. But I'm Matt Igo, I'm the Roundup Valley Growers Executive Director. Is that getting bigger? My eyes aren't what they used to be.
I can, do you want me to give him this to look?
I can do it on my phone too. I think I can see it from there.
If you want to take this, then you can just push up.
Where are we? How about we go to the one, what is farm to school? So on the screen here, they kind of talk about the components of farm to school. In normal language, the 4 components are school gardens, local procurement, food and ag curriculum, and experimental education. In the farm to school world, you often hear referred to as the 4 C's. It's a classroom, it's the cafeteria, and it's the community. So the classroom is about an education portion that we've been doing recently, and it's been a little bit curtailed because of coronavirus, but we've been sourcing local food from farmers that's in season, making it into a little bit of a bite-size container, and then we're developing a little bit of a worksheet that kids can go along with. They can read about the farm, how they grow it, who the farmers are, how far away they were from where you are, how to cook it, and there's also a little bit of a coloring scheme on the back where they can color into it. It's very achievable, what we did this past year. We've kept it really small, but there's potential, huge potential for this kind of program. There's funding for it. Our members like to fund this type of thing. There's other organizations that will write grants to fund it. So we'd be happy to expand this later on in the year, but that's like the classroom part of it. You go out to a farm maybe, you do some farm field trips, we can have a farmer come in, we can do things like go into the cafeteria and cook the food that is being grown locally so kids can taste it. And when kids pick their own food and they cook their own food, they're way more likely to eat that food, especially if they've had some kind of hand in doing some part of that process. Even if it's something they've never seen before, they're going to put it in their mouth. It's a phenomenon, really. And if you do it at home, of course, it doesn't work. But if you do this kind of process where you help get their hands in the dirt, and then you help them pick it, and then you help them clean it, and you help them cook it, they'll actually try the food. And most likely down the road, they'll remember that time when they either ate locally grown chard or broccoli or whatever it was, and they don't think about it with a weird sensation. It's just part of what the nature has given them. It's a bit more of a natural thing to turn to later in life. The other C would be we can go with the cafeteria side of it. That's more about the procurement. That's another program that we're working on here internally. The procurement side of it is a funny story. There's a lady who works up in Cornell Cooperative in Ulster County, and she's a very long farming family. And we were on a conversation one time, and her dad called, and he was been a farmer way, way back. And he said, "I'll call you back. I'm working on farm to school." And he said, "What's that?" And she goes, "Oh, it's a program where we ask for grants to buy some money from farms, and we give it for free to schools." He's like, "You're kidding me, right?" And he's like, "No." He goes, "When you were a kid, they used to call me up in the morning and say, 'Can you deliver X, Y, Z?' And he'd pull up his truck and he'd drive it over to the school, and then they would cook all that food that was grown right here." So what we're trying to do here with this procurement side of it is not something that's crazy. It's just kind of how the world has changed on us where we weren't looking. And we're just kind of trying to bring back a little of that back into focus, into balance again by not just procuring from all around the country, but also doing a little bit right here. Not just, that strengthens our ties to our land. It helps the farms survive. Also helps our economics in terms of keeping dollars local. So it's an important part of what we like to think about in the 4 C's. And then on the community side, having gardens, community gardens where people can go to, they can participate in. Also, thinking more about what parents need for their own families and when they're at home, because not everyone has access to fresh, healthy, local food all the time. It's a little more expensive. It's seasonal. You don't really know where to get it. Other people only head straight to the grocery store. So education on that part with families about where they can get it, and also sometimes even providing the ability to have free boxes of food, that type of thing from local farmers, which we can fundraise to pay for. That's the kind of programming that we like to get into in the future as well. Okay, who did the next slide? So, there we go. Why farm to school? That's a little small up there. And I won't even go into, I can just read you a little bit from my brain. Why does it work for kids? Kids get to try new foods. They develop healthier attitudes towards food, and they're more willing to try healthier food objects in the future if they have it when they're younger. So that's one. Farmers win. Obviously, you're purchasing from local farms, and you're helping to preserve farmland, and if people's tie to the land is strengthened. And communities win because their students are healthier, and they're more likely to stick around and support the community and support the farms that are in that community. There are some stats on here. The farm to school programs with the health of children and communities while supporting local agricultural production improves children's dietary behavior. This is what I talked about earlier. It's demonstrated if children are able to sample the foods and help grow them, they're more likely to eat them later in life. Increases fruit and vegetable consumption. With school gardens, 44.2% of students consume more fruit and vegetables. With locally sourced food, 33.1% of students consume more fruit and vegetables. And decreased diet-related diseases such as diabetes and obesity, most notably for high-risk and low-income students. And to the next one. So this is just a screen about childhood obesity in Ulster County. I don't think I have to tell anyone here locally that we have a problem nationwide. We have a problem here in Ulster County. It's just a problem. And a lot of it has to do with the choices that people have or kind of in their lives when it comes to producing food, and scheduling that they have, and how to prepare the food at home, and also the cost of it. So one of the things that we like to try to do is to get people more engaged in the process of what they choose to put inside their bodies, how they eat it, where it comes from. Just start thinking about those small things can help guide people to better decisions later on. Okay, so the next one. This talks particularly about reversing. It's a little bit higher than the average at overall in Ulster County. So a program like this, what we'd be aiming to do is to really reach out more into the classroom, make sure the kids are having as much possibility to eat a variety of foods that they wouldn't ordinarily eat, and if possible, slowly work our way into the cafeteria so that we can get some of the more fresh, locally grown foods in there that might be better choices than they're currently making. And you go to the next one. So where we are now, so we had this great grant that we got from the USDA. It was $50,000. And with that, we were able to start setting up some of these committees and some of these programs. So we put in 3 gardens. 2 of them were right here in Ellenville. One was at the Family of Ellenville, and one is at the Ellenville Rural Health Network. And those are planted, and they're doing great. We partnered with ARC of Ulster, and they brought their students down to do some of the gardening and the weeding and the maintenance of the gardens. So that has been very helpful for us. We launched the Just a Bite program, where we did 1,800 samples so far to students. Most of that, all of that went home with home lunches. So again, a very modest program, but something that could be greatly expanded upon. Developed 2 subcommittees to develop an action plan for implementation. So what that means is myself, working with Vince and with some other people inside the food program, procurement program, we've been going through and kind of doing a cost analysis and a spend analysis on what products are being purchased right now for the schools and what can be possibly shifted to a more local sourcing of those particular products. So for example, if you're buying a bunch of bread from someone who's making it at a bakery with wheat that's grown out of state, can we switch that bread to a bakery that grows with New York State wheat, and how much more would that cost? Is it more healthy? That type of thing. We have to figure out all the nutritionals. It's a very big job. It's going to go on for probably a year before we figure this out. But the final goal there would be to get 30% of all of the food in the school's cafeteria sourced locally. And what that does is, even though there's a greater outlay on the part of the district at the beginning to get these locally sourced foods, the state comes back and reimburses at a certain rate that to make it more attractive to you to do that. So our goal right now is just to figure out where we are and then try to find different venues or different pathways to get to that 30% rate. Curriculum integration, discussed evidence-based farm to school curriculum. That's basically talking about how farms work, why they're necessary, how things grow, how do they get to you from the farm, and how to prepare these foods. So it's kind of like a lifestyle and a biology lesson, also a social sciences lesson, all kind of put together. And I mentioned already community garden at Ellenville. And this is the next picture. So that's Bob from Fiddlehead Farm. They're up in Rosendale, and you can see some lines of his lettuce. So we gave all the kids a little bit of mescaline about 4 months ago, and you can see, we put it all together, and I didn't show the processing, but we also process the Archibolster. So they'll take all of the product that we bring in, wash it, clean it, chop it, pack it, and we compensate them for that, and then we bring it down to the school as just part of our service to the farm to school program. And the next slide. So farm to school, where we want to be, walkable community garden. That would be an expanded version of what we're doing right now, kind of a year-round garden where we can have perennials inside of it, more vegetables and bigger, probably more sunshine. The spots we have right now aren't great on sunshine. Improved access to water, better fencing, that type of thing. Field trips to local farms. Again, some of this is curtailed because of the coronavirus, but we have that ability, and we can get the funding, and we can get the partners together to get kids on buses and out to farms and really just get their hands in the dirt and take a look and see what it's like to be on the farm. And this is not, we're very lucky. We have farms that are right here, our neighbors, that we could bring them out to. So not difficult to do. 30% initiative reach, that's one of the goals. So I believe that within a year, we'll probably get there. Weekly agricultural nutrition lessons. I know that's ambitious, but it's a constant reinforcement of those kind of programs that make it work. And if it's a once off or twice off a year, it's less sticky. So if we can get some of that information in there more regularly, especially incorporating it into the local food, into the gardens, we feel like it could be successful. Cooking demonstrations, there's lots of ways to do this. We can do it in a cafeteria. We can invite local chefs inside of it. We can take kids out to the farms, or we can cook it in the farms. We could have parents come in and have cooking classes that way. We can do it in YouTube videos. There's tons of potential for how to do this. It's really just how it works best for the community here. And expanded Justified program. So right now we're doing 200-300 samples of the little Justifieds a month. We could easily do 1,000. It just matters, how effective it is and how good it is for the students themselves. Are they benefiting from it? Do we want to expand it? Just all things we can discuss, over the course of next year. I think. Okay, so next steps. This grant will be over with in about 3 months. I'll put an extension in, but there is an implementation grant. So essentially, there's more money than we got the first time to help implement these programs internally. So how can that money be spent? That money could be spent to help alleviate the costs of some of the procurement costs that you would have, maybe build some infrastructure to help with the expand the ability to have cooling and refrigeration. It would help to fund a position for teaching inside the schools. We can use it for any myriad of things that we can do out there. Secure Whitson's involvement. So Whitson's is the contractor that they use at the school to provide all the food. They've been very helpful to date, helping us figure out what kind of money is being spent where on what kind of foods, and so that we can go back and forth and make sure that we can figure out places where you can spend money and get to the 30% initiative, and B, it doesn't work for the cafeteria and how they feed the kids now. So there might have to be some adjustments there because right now they do it one way and there might be a slight change by procuring locally. And we'll have to work that out directly with the people cooking. So move money from the commodity program to local procurement at school district level. So this is just a little bit tricky. I'll just try to put it in a nutshell. There's monies that you all receive in terms of like a credit or a bank account that you can spend down on commodity foods that the federal government gives you. And what we would like to see happen is take some the government and our representatives at the federal level start being able to push a bigger percentage of those dollars towards local procurement. I mean, we shouldn't have to spend money supporting farms in California and in Florida when we could be doing it, reasonably close to here. And I'm not talking about all of the money that we get, but a bigger percentage of what that we have, we could be able to spend over here locally. And finally, utilization of Family Development Garden for experimental learning opportunities starting in fall 2021. That is definitely possible. That the garden's going really well over there, and we're cleaning it up. There's had been abandoned for a long time. We need a lot of dangerous items picked up and some fencing put in and some new water sources, but that's all coming along. So we could certainly do that in 2021. I think that's it.
Matthew, thank you. Any questions? Iris?
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's really exciting to me to hear that this is happening. I'm interested in knowing, is it primarily a program geared toward elementary school, or do you hope to expand it into the junior and senior high school also?
So right now, most farm-to-school programs target younger generations because the idea is that you start them young and then they kind of build these habits over time, and resources are limited. But 100%, any person of any age can learn and be educated in this program. And I feel like it could benefit greatly. So, if the ability to get in at the high school level, if there's interest there, especially maybe doing a mentorship out on a local farm, or someone wanted to become a farmer and was interested in some kind of type of training and needed funding for that, all of those things are possibilities. Cooking with chefs, I think that's a great way to get people who are interested in the culinary field, go out to a farm, pick the food, or go to your local garden, pick the food, have a real chef come in, work with you, talk with the kids, tell them what's going on, how to do certain things, how to cook, and see that there's a real profession and a possibility there. Those are all things that we can do, and they're not super expensive. Like we can find a way to do all these things if the ambition was there internally at the school.
I have another
Go ahead.
question. I'm also interested in knowing, so there's a program that you have in mind, and where is the intersection between the program you're offering and the school district? Who are you working with in, let's say, the elementary school, because I assume the focus is there much more now. How do you work with the school to get this? I know Vince plays a part in the procurement, and I know he's been working away at the 30%. But as far as actually, bringing curriculum into the school, bringing the foods into the school, the bike programs, and who are you working with?
So
How does that
you
go?
might want to speak more to that. There you go.
Right, so there are members of the district and our teaching staff or administrative staff that are on the Farm to School Committee, part of this grant. So we work with Principal I, we work with Eileen in Whitson's to distribute the Just a Bite. We roll out some of the curriculum through Principal I. There are teachers that work with the Farm to School outside of the district to do field trips and work on some of that stuff on their own. They don't do it part of district time. There's maybe working with Mr. Spinelli, maybe a dozen teachers that are actively involved in doing things outside of the school day that are involved in the Farm to School. So we've got pockets throughout the district of people that are helping to keep this program successful.
But in addition to being parts of it going through the cafeteria, which is certainly an important part of this, how are you going to bring it into the classrooms? I mean, you have people that are willing to do work outside of their regular classroom, but how does it become part of the classroom?
Well, they've developed videos, right? So as part of the curriculum, the teachers can use that as part of teaching the students about healthy eating. So our health teachers and our PE teachers, part of their curriculum, and actually like a lot of the teachers, part of their curriculum is healthy eating and dieting and all that stuff. So the farm to school people have been working with Ulster County Cornell Cooperative Extension. I think Katie up there, they've been, maybe it wasn't Katie, someone else, but they put together some stuff during the pandemic, YouTube videos and different things that the teachers could use if they chose to use it as part of their instructional day to help with health awareness and eating and healthy diets. So that's
Does it
happening
exist
now.
as part of the curriculum now, or is it just we're learning, so eventually it'll be part of the curriculum?
Well, I'll have to defer to Ms. White about, I'm not well versed on what the curriculum looks like in the buildings, right? So, I can't tell you that in the third grade, in module whatever, they're talking about, healthy diets and all that stuff, but it's there, and our teachers have the ability to tap into the resources put together by Matt and everybody that's
Right.
on the, on this project to use it. But they can use other resources too, whatever they choose. But Matt's team makes it a little bit easier for them to reach out and, grab hold of those
And
resources.
we launched this during COVID, so it's been very much, piecing together, running around, trying to figure out how to do something. But as this opens up and there's more opportunities, I think that we could probably gather these people together who are most interested in trying to help with the pilot program and put together or lay on the table all the resources that we have and see which ones work for your community. And then we could start working to adopt some of those.
Well, I just wanted to say that I think that thinking in terms of locally sourced is a new concept for many people.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to going to the grocery store and buying whatever happens to be there, which is likely from California. So it's a change of lifestyle, really, and I certainly support it and encourage it. And I'm interested in knowing how we're going to introduce the idea to young people so they'll grow up with this as a regular way of life. Really.
But yeah, and I'm with you on that. I think it is a valuable part. I think we can do it too. I think we just kind of lost sight of it for a bit, but I think there's a lot of power and influence behind it right now. That's at the state level, at the federal level. People are understanding that we've kind of diverged a little too far from this ability to source locally and feed ourselves. And so I think there's momentum, and there's going to be money coming forward, and hopefully we can pull something together in this area.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
We'll move on. Under reports, information, and correspondence, really quickly, we'll be getting some dates together. Due to COVID, we did not do this last year, but coming up, we're going to be doing our board goals at a meeting with a board and administrators retreat. We'll get some dates probably after we have towards the end of the summer. We'll be looking at dates for our board administrators retreats, maybe even early September. And we'll to cover our board goals as well. We will be having, and the superintendent will talk about this, but I'm happy to hear that we're having a regular graduation, and that is all for me. Anybody else? Not, we will go on to superintendent.
So this Friday at 6 o'clock out on the football field, we'll be having a traditional graduation ceremony for the class of 2021. We're really excited about it. Their plans are well underway. Outdoors, the restrictions have really been lifted. For those that have not been vaccinated, we're requesting that people wear masks. Actually, this New York State Department of Health is requesting that people wear masks. It's going to be an honor system. We'd appreciate if everyone followed those regs, but our students are really excited, and which I feel like the first step back to, full in person, hopefully, in the fall. So we're really looking forward to that. Summer school will kick off in the buildings here on July 6th for our Boost Academy K through 6, 7, 8, 9, our middle grade levels. We'll also have summer school here. 10, 11, 12 will be attending summer school itself in BOCES. We're trying to really encourage students that need the support and have fallen behind to attend these extended year activities. I also want to report to the board that on July 4th, we'll be having a float in the parade for the July 4th parade. We usually start decorating the float at about 9 o'clock. hopefully we'll be back in front of the elementary school. We're really excited about that tradition, resurfacing for all of us. And at the end of the school year, I just want to take the opportunity, to really say goodbye this year, but really thank you publicly to all of the staff and the faculty, our students, our families. This has been a very trying, frustrating year, and it didn't go, it went as well as could be expected, but we're really, like I said earlier, looking forward to getting back to an in-person traditional school year in September. More information to follow as additional guidance comes out, but we're really ready to turn the page on this pandemic in our school. So that's all I have tonight.
Okay, I just want to take time to point out and send our condolences to the families of Carrie Avery, who was a 25-year building and grounds employee of the district who passed away recently, and also to Carol Olzanecki, a longtime aide in our buildings. What department was special ed?
A teacher aide, yeah.
Yeah, teacher aide. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, and we will adjourn the meeting in their memory tonight. Assistant Superintendent for Business, Mr. Napoli.
Thank you. The Environmental Club, while it was kind of dormant this year due to the pandemic, Ms. Raming, who's typically the advisor of the Environmental Club, put together a little proposal. They want to plant some trees back by the tennis courts in honor of Janet Stinson, an art teacher who passed away. And if you remember what our tennis courts look like, but we had a couple of trees back there and they died, and we had to dig up the stumps. So they want to put some flowering pear trees back there. I have them at my house. They're beautiful. Some people don't like them, but they grow tall, they grow fast, they offer shade, and they've got beautiful flowers in the springtime, and they don't really bear fruit like a regular fruit tree, because we have to worry about people planting fruit trees and the droppings getting on the ground, and then we have bees. We do have a flowering pear tree in the back of the elementary school that I forget how many years ago it was planted. They're open for ideas. That will happen in the fall, but I wanted to make sure that I put it out there so that everyone was aware of what they were thinking about. I'd like to provide an update on the pool. The scaffolding went in. It was finished on Friday, which means that they can get into the pump room and get the pool ready, replace the sand and the filters, and get the chemicals in there and do whatever they have to do to get the pool ready for camp, which means that they can fill the pool, they can start filtering. Well, the scaffolding was done and it was installed. The next phase would be doing some scaffolding in the valve room. That's where the steps are if you're familiar with the pool house, but that room is not accessed. So we're not really too worried about that right now, but eventually we'll have to get in there and get some work done. So those are the next phases, but right now we're ready to operate the pool where the town is.
Who's going to be sure that whoever has to go in that pool house is the only person that goes in that pool house? Doesn't sound like the pool house is going to be, let's be secure enough for one person to go in, correct?
Well, the scaffolding is underneath the physical pool house. So the pool house itself is fine. That's the white building that's out by the pool where the lifeguards are. And, there's the shack out there for selling concessions and all of that in the locker rooms. It's underneath it where we just had to do some shoring. There is a steel beam that runs the whole width of the pool. And over time, due to the chlorine that's in there, that steel beam started to corrode, rust. So just to be sure, we put some shoring in there that will ensure that the concrete above doesn't collapse. You can have as many people in there as you want, and I don't know how many people that the camp have in there, but to answer your question.
I'd like to know actually how many people go in and out of that building. I suspect it isn't used much, but I'd like to be reassured.
I'll have to
that it
reach
isn't
out
used
to
much.
Ms. Bugna in camp to see how many people actually go down into the pump room. It can't be that many, whoever is.
Not I'm talking about the pump room. I'm talking about the space above that where your scaffolding is a space for snacks and
The
whatever
scaffolding
else.
is underneath it,
I understand.
right?
Holding up the whole building, basically.
Well, it's holding up the concrete floor that the building sits on,
Exactly.
right? So you want to know how many
And
people.
so I would
enter-
like to know what kind of traffic is going to be in that building this summer with the scaffolding underneath it all. if it's really used at all or not. I mean, I think it's better if it's not used, but I'd like to know that.
Sure, I don't, I'll ask. I don't know that they would have the statistics, like they don't measure how many.
I don't
kids-
think they use it at all, but I'd like to be assured that they don't.
Okay, sure. Good,
Yes.
okay. In front of all the board members, Mr. Moyer put together, he took our mascots and presented to you what he would like the gym floors to be done over the summer. So if you remember, we're having both the high school and the middle school gym floors completely sanded down to bare wood this year, and it gives us the opportunity to redo the striping, the painting, the all the colors and lines that are on the basketball courts, and they integrated our new mascot or logo. And so you've got the junior school and the senior high school separate, but it still highlights what our logos and mascot looks like.
Jody.
On the high school, the E's on the corners are in blue and white. Can we change them to blue and gold with the color of the school is? The E's on the floor, on the corners of the high school, the senior high school. The E with the pitchfork's white.
Yeah,
Can we change that to gold?
Yes.
I don't see why not.
And then I don't know if you'd want to change the outline to gold as well on the floor, so it'd be a blue and gold floor as well, not blue and white.
I'm not sure I understand that.
The lines on
The lines on the floor.
similar to,
Similar to-
replicate it like the junior, senior.
Oh, yeah,
high.
those are the volleyball, what they use for volleyball. So you
Can
want
they
them
just
to
be
match
yellow?
the colors of what's on the junior school.
Yes. The end of the basketball courts can stay in the blue.
Right.
It's
But
just the
Like the
lines.
it's those white lines you want
Correct.
gold.
Yeah.
Please.
And it's still the gold in the junior high
Yes,
school.
everything, yep, is where, yep,
So do you want the E's in the junior high school gold also, or
They
they
are
can
gold.
stay?
they are
They are
gold.
gold.
They're gold.
The junior high school, the E in the middle of the floor is gold.
In the middle of the floor, but in the word Ellenville Blue Devils, it's
a-
white.
Nope,
On
the writing's right, white, but the pitchfork is gold.
Yeah, he's talking about at the edge on the edge where it says Ellenville Blue Devils on the,
Oh, hold on, so I had the wrong E. All right,
look,
let-
Vince, I have it, this E
Okay.
right here. They want this E.
that's not the E, I was, okay, yep, got
It's
it.
actually the pitchfork. I'm sorry, it's not
Got it.
the E,
Okay,
it's
I
actually the
understand.
pitchfork.
You want the pitchfork gold, not white?
Yes, correct,
But the E is blue.
Yes.
correct.
Got it.
Thank you.
We received the lead testing results for the high school. Only one fixture failed. It was a sink in one of the locker rooms, offices, PE offices, so we took that out of commission. We'll have it retested. I've submitted the data to the New York State Department of Health as required. Tomorrow I'll post the results online, and then I'll notify everyone in the community via email. And this is required, what the results were and where to find them. The district-wide safety committee met on June 14th, and we reviewed the district-wide safety plan, which is something that we have to do every year. The changes are in a different color on the document that you have. Most of it are staff changes and a couple of other minor things that we found. I did incorporate the pandemic Appendix F into the district-wide safety plan rather than having it being a separate document. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Could we request that, I know you're planting those trees in different memories, but we'd like to see maybe if we could do it in honor of some of the Board of Education members who have passed away and dedicated their lives to public service here in the district. And amongst those, Carolyn Coleman, Maxine Chapin, Ed Kalish, Jack Siegel.
I can certainly
Mr. Matthews.
ask Ms.
Mr.
Ramey to do
Matthews, yeah.
that.
Ray Matthews, rather. So if we could do that, that would be nice. Wayne?
Can we find out how often this junior high school gym is used? There's no bleachers in it. How often do we use that gym?
She'll get back to you.
Thank you.
All right, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Mrs. Kelly White.
Good evening. I just want to remind the school community about the Panorama Education Survey, which closes on Friday. To date, we've had roughly 13% of our families participate in the survey. When we administered it in the fall, I believe our family participation was at about 19%, so we were hoping to exceed that. We'll continue to push reminder emails out through the Panorama website, and we'll do another robocall either tomorrow or Thursday. And we have ongoing reminders on our social media website. So we would love to see more participation, and that information is used in drafting our school improvement plans. Additionally, we had put out a survey yesterday about the American Rescue Plan, and we've gotten a great number of responses on that. So thank you for your feedback in that. And again, that survey, I believe, closes on Friday as well. So if you hadn't had the opportunity to provide feedback on that, that survey will be used to determine how to spend our federal funding through the American Rescue Plan.
Thank you. We will move on to personnel resolutions for this evening. Under 6.1, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved the following positions be abolished as listed: Director of Facilities 3 and .4, full-time equivalent physical education teacher.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? And Geneva, you're a yes?
Yep.
Okay, 6.2. I know, I'm going to read it first. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that Jonathan Bajagas, who holds a professional New York State certificate in the area of visual arts, be appointed to a 3-year probationary position in the 10-year area of visual arts, effective September 1, 2021 through August 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Been
Second.
moved. Seconded. Discussion. I would like to introduce to the board, he is
Should we
here.
vote
Jonathan, could you please stand up?
Shouldn't
I know
vote
we have to
first?
vote, but I just want to do it under discussion. Jonathan, say hello to everybody. We haven't voted yet, but it's nice to see you.
Thank you.
And he is a graduate of Ellenville High School, so thank you for returning to the district. It's very nice to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
We still haven't voted yet, but thank you.
Thank you for welcoming me.
All right, we're welcoming you at least. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Jonathan, congratulations. We look forward to having you.
Thank you.
And you do not have to stay if you want to go. We understand. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that Dawn Mueller, who holds a professional New York State certificate in the area of visual arts, be appointed 3-year probationary position in the 10-year area of visual arts, effective September 1, 2021 through August 31st, 2024, to contractual rate. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Discussion? I see these are 3-year probationary periods instead of 4.
They were tenured in a
Tenure, okay.
different district.
All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.4, music teacher. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that Evan Mason, who holds an initial New York State certificate in the area of music, be appointed to a 4-year probationary position in the 10-year area of music, effective September 1, 2021 through August 31st, 2025. Contractual rate of $64,449, step 1, bachelor's plus 30 plus master's.
So moved.
Been moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that Jessica Graham be appointed as a 1-to-1 registered nurse for student number 27107, effective July 6, 2021, for a total of 24 days at an hourly rate of $36.89.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Registered 6.6, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be resolved, I already went over that one. Additional registered nurse. Be it resolved that Jessica Graham be authorized to work up to an additional 12.5 hours per week at her hourly rate for the purpose of providing additional nursing services for student number 27101 in accordance with the student's individualized educational plan. And be it further resolved that if student 27101 does not attend school, Ms. Graham is authorized to perform other nursing duties as assigned before and after the contractual workday not to exceed 12.5 hours.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Question.
Yes.
We approved 6.5, correct?
Yes.
And then,
We skipped 6.6.
okay,
Jessica Graham has 3 positions.
so it was out of order because we didn't appoint her to the full-time position first? Is that what it is?
That's correct.
Okay,
I
thank
saw
you.
her name once, so I figured, I didn't know that she had 3 resolutions. We will
Okay.
correct that. But I am going to just vote on this one for the 12.5 hours. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. That will go back to 6.6. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Jessica Graham be appointed as a registered nurse at a contractual rate of $51,638, step 1, effective September 1st, 2021. This is a civil service position that requires a 6-month probationary period ending March 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.8, MOA. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that the MOA between the Ellenville Central School District and the ETS RPA Teachers Unit be approved as attached.
So moved.
Moved?
Second.
Seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be resolved that the MOA between the Ellenville Central School District and the ETS RPA Teachers Unit be approved as attached. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.10, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Michael Camargo, who holds a license as a behavior analyst, be appointed to the position of behavior analyst at a contractual salary of $90,944, step 10, bachelor's plus 48 plus master's, with a 6-month probationary period effective September 1, 2021. The probationary period shall end March 1st, 2022, unless extended pursuant to Sullivan County Civil Service rules.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carried. 6.11. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, be it resolved that Stacy Hilton's resolution dated 6/8/21 be amended to read as follows. Who holds an initial New York State certification as school building leader and a pending New York State certification as school district leader be appointed to a 4-year probationary period in the tenure area of assistant principal effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2025.
So
Been moved.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? 6.12, be it resolved that the resolution dated June 8, 2021 be amended as follows, that the superintendent is authorized to approve up to 20 hours of summer professional development, including curriculum writing, taken between July 1st, 2021 and August 31st, 2021 for each unit member of the Ellenville Teachers Association, with the exception of teachers' assistants, at a rate of $41 per hour worked.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? John?
So is this different from the one that we approved
At
last
the
time?
last
Or
meeting? Yes. So that had to be corrected. We had a $41 rate for teachers and teacher assistants.
Okay,
So the teachers are $41. The next resolution will take care of the teacher assistants at $31. And then
thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.13, upon be it resolved that superintendent is authorized to approve up to 20 hours of summer professional development taken between July 1st, 2021, August 31st, 2021 for each teaching assistant of the Ellenville Teachers Association at a rate of $31 per hour work.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Okay, we will move on to 6.14. Whereas the following teachers have been appointed as teachers in the district effective September 1st, 2021. Anybody want to move that list?
So moved.
It's been moved. And I just clarified the bottom. The resolution will include for teachers at a rate of $41 per hour work and teachers assistants at a rate of $31 per hour work into the resolution. Is that acceptable?
Oh, you're amending it?
Yeah, we have to amend it.
Yes.
Okay, we have, it has been amended. Any discussion? All those in,
Is this in addition to the hours that the other teachers we just
Yes, it-
approved for?
So these teachers are the newly appointed teachers. The
Okay,
last resolution are for existing teachers, so these teachers and the TA have all been called back September 1st. So you have to authorize the PD. The board has to authorize the PD for these particular teachers for the summer. So it's a separate resolution that had to be passed.
so these might be some of the teachers that are coming into the district also for the first time, and we want to give them the opportunity to do the training. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Thank you.
any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. 6.15, upon a recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be it resolved that Teresa Shealy be approved to participate in CSE, CPSE meetings and conduct evaluations not to exceed 7 hours per day worked at her contractual rate for the period of June 28, 2021 through June 30th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Move to second, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.16, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be resolved the attached list of teachers be approved to participate in the summer CSE, CPSE meetings and conduct testing as needed at their contractual rate for the period of July 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Been moved.
Second.
Second, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. 6.17, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, be resolved the following teachers be approved to work on the Building Strategic Plan Committee during the months of July and August, not to exceed 20 hours worked at a rate of $41 per hour worked.
So moved.
Moved. Second, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Okay, on the budget resolutions. 7.1.
Motion to move 7.1 and 7.2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. Under 8.1, student IEPs. Be it
The list
resolved.
as presented.
Move the list.
Second.
Second. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? No one. Motion carries. 8.2. Resolve the following volunteers be approved for the 2021-22 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Under other resolutions, 9.1, resolve the Board of Education adopt the 2021-2022 district-wide school safety plan as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved, seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Motion carries. Next meeting will be July 1st, 2021. It's on a Thursday. It is our reorganizational meeting. And I will now, is there anything anybody would like to see on the next agenda?
I just have a question. I may have missed this earlier. When are we going back to full in-person meetings? I missed that. I know.
So the governor has extended the deadline, or extended the date until July 5th. On July 6th, we would go back unless there's a change or he extends it again.
Is it a mandatory extension on his part, or do we have any jurisdiction over that?
We do not have jurisdiction over it. It's optional to the people if they want. We do not have
I
jurisdiction.
know that the good governor is busy doing away and eliminating masks because his daughter is coincidentally getting married this weekend, but I just think that it's taken from our meetings doing this, and all effect, the pandemic's pretty much over. I'd like to get back to in-person meetings as soon as possible. I know some other board members feel the same way.
As soon as the governor gives us the go-ahead, we will do so. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Move seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? We're adjourned.